Hey, what's up, guys? Captain August here. I am very excited to say that Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is finally being released for PC. I thought I'd make a tips and tricks video just to help some people out if they're having trouble or want to know a few pro tips before they get stuck in. So here we go. First on the list, Dragon's Dogma is a very, very long game. It actually isn't over until the end of New Game Plus, and then there's all the DLC to do twice and the post-game content. With that in mind, take your time creating your character and your pawn, because you're going to have to be looking at them for like 200 hours, if you want to really complete the fuck out of Dragon's Dogma and love it like I do. No one wants to have regrets about what their character looks like. Alright, second thing on the list. Bitter Black Isle, the DLC, it's very hard, so I wouldn't recommend going there till at least level 50 or 60, because it'll whoop you if you don't know what's in there. Alright, third thing. There will be points in the game where progression through the story will cut off several missions that you can do, or just you will automatically fail whatever quest you haven't, or side quests or notice board quests you don't have done up until that point. So make sure if you want to do those side quests and notice board quests, you should probably do them as soon as you pick them up and are able to do them. And if it seems like there's a big plot point coming up in the main story, make sure you get those side quests done, because chances are you won't be able to go back and do them later. Number 4. You're going to want to plan your journeys to be in the daylight. When it gets dark in Dragon's Dogma, the world pretty much just goes to hell. There's gonna be way more powerful mobs, huge monsters, really fucked up shit that wouldn't be there during the daytime. So, if you're low level, they'll whoop you. With that in mind, before, each mission, I would make sure to rest at the inn, and so you start in the morning. And also with that in mind, the inn in Cassardus is a lot cheaper than the inn in the main city. There's inns in several cities or whatever, but the town you start out, that'll be the cheapest inn, so you might as well just always go back there to rest no matter what. There are chests and even gather piles around the world with really good weapons in them. There's a chance for you to get these equipments when you open the chest or gather from the pile. I would say if the game was giving you enough trouble where you're thinking about quitting because you're so frustrated, I would say to go look up where, a good weapon is around your level, and you can save before you open the chest and then reload it as many times as you want until you find what weapon that you want. Alright, fast travel. Something everyone hates about Dragon's Dogma, but it's something that I love about Dragon's Dogma. When you start out, it's going to seem like there is no fast travel. Just give it a little bit of time. Throughout the world, you'll pick up port crystals, I think they're called. And these are basically just markers that you put down around the world in your travels, and then you'll be able to fast travel to those places from now on until you move them again. So I think you get like 5 or 6 of them in total. If you place them well around the map, you should actually never have an ultra long journey that you've already had to trek once before. Alright, pawn inclination. Part of this game is you make a buddy follower called a pawn. You can use other people's pawns and they can use your pawn. Pawns have patterns of behavior called inclination that are formed by what commands you give them, or you can sit them down at an inn and manually change their inclination. But be forewarned, using commands like come or go or attack or help will gradually change the pawn's inclination. So if you worked hard getting your pawn exactly inclined just as how you want, then you better make sure to look up those commands and which ones will change your pawn's inclination and avoid them. With that said, I'd like to invite you to look me up on Steam. My Steam name's in my YouTube channel description. If you want to give me your Steam name, I would be happy to use your pawn on a video for part of the walkthrough I'll be doing of this game. So that'll be cool, hit me up. And that's going to be your main source of Rift Crystals. Basically, you're going to want Rift Crystals, and a good way is to have your pawn earn them for you by being used by other people. And a good way to try to get your pawn used by more people is to make them a slutty looking anime girl. For reals though, no one ever rents anyone except slutty anime girl pawns. Now I'm going to talk about the best place to level up your character before post-game. There is one spot where there's an enemy that summons several smaller enemies, and you can kill them over and over and over again to level up quickly. And these enemies scale with your level. So at any point during the game, you can always come back to this one mob and get decent experience fighting to level up. There's a really good video on how to do this. I'll leave a link to it in the description of this video. This is just a general piece of advice, and I'm going to try to be spoiler free about it. Get the gold idol. This might be one thing worth looking up beforehand to make sure that you get it, because it's what's going to unlock the most powerful weapons before post-game for you to use. So I won't say anything more than that, but if you are one who does like to have the best weapons you can get earliest, like I am, it might be worth looking up. Now when you start out, you're going to start out with a rusty weapon, whether that's a rusty bow, sword, or what have you. This is actually an extremely good weapon because it is one of the only, if not the only bow that inflicts a debuff on enemies. It actually makes them move extremely slowly. So this, of course, while not doing very much damage at all, will be very useful for just slowing down big enemies. There aren't a lot of even bosses that are immune to it, so. Which brings me to my next point, explosive arrows. Explosive arrows are OP as fuck, and you're going to want to get a lot of them if you have a class that uses a bow. Throwing an enemy off a cliff is a legit way to kill them. I do it all the time. Instead of hacking at them for 5 minutes, just toss them off a cliff and they die. Alright, this could be counted as a spoiler, but it's such a basic thing that you definitely need, I'm just gonna say it. There's an Eternal Fairy Stone that you can pick up as soon as you get to the big city. You'll just be able to use that to go to any port crystal anytime you want. So that's good. Alright, my final piece of advice is to take away your pawn's either main weapon or offhand weapon. For instance, if your pawn is a fighter, it's awesome to take away their shield and just leave them with only a sword. They act extremely aggressively. I'm talking about like blink strike after blink strike, back and forth. It's crazy. And it's something that's pretty cool and it's worked out for me really well that I haven't really seen around a lot before. So I just wanted to get it out there. Like if you had a rogue pawn or whatever, you could take away either their dagger or their bow and see how they would act with only the one. And it's usually pretty crazy to see. They usually just go ham as fuck. And that's it. I hope some of this information was helpful to you, and I hope that you enjoy Dragon's Dogma just as much as I do. And also, for real, hit me up about that pawn thing though. I need the Rift Crystals, and so do you.